Stop me if you've heard this one before. A stuffed wombat production.
This is the Shirehampton Stuffed Wombat Society. Sorry, belay that. This is the Chichester Stuffed Wombat Society, nautical but nice, with their performance of Stop Me If You've Heard This One Before. A man in his late 50s is sitting in an armchair listening to the radio. A laptop is perched on his knees. He stares blankly at the screen. Another man, also in his late 50s, wearing a pair of tattered blue jeans and an obscure 1980s band T-shirt, opens the garden gate of number 37 Peveril Gardens and walks briskly up the path.
Southeast England, central southern England, the Midlands and the whole of northern England. Here it will be dry and sunny with temperatures climbing into the low 70s by mid-afternoon. Indeed, temperatures in London could even top 80 degrees Fahrenheit in the later part of the afternoon. Now, moving on to Scotland, here the early morning frost will be slow to clear. Cloud will drift in from the north, bringing heavy snow, even down to low levels, leading to tricky travel conditions for this evening's commute. Looking forward to the weekend, and it's more of the same. Warm and sunny in the south, ice and snow in the north. That's your weather forecast. Now, back to the studio.
Morning, Mug. Lovely day, isn't it?
Indeed it is. What more could you ask for? Warm sunshine, birds singing, the weekend to look forward to. These daily walks have improved my mood no end. I've lost all that excess weight I put on over lockdown. Couldn't be happier right now.
Yes, you do look like you're back to your old self. Anyway, come in, the kettle's just boiled.
I say, what's that? Have you splashed out on a new laptop?
Ah, I thought you'd spot that, given your penchant for technology.
It looks very impressive. What specs did you go for?
I've had these for years, varifocals. Haven't you had your eyes tested recently?
I think we're talking at cross purposes. I was inquiring as to the specifications for the new machine.
Oh, you know me. Technology neophyte.
Fair enough. I can find out. Pass it over and I'll check it out. Wow. That's good. Impressive.
Is it any good?
Good? It's more than good. It's top of the range. 8-core Intel CPU, 64 gigs of RAM, SSD, high-end graphics. I didn't know you were into gaming. What games have you got lined up? Halo? Grand Theft Auto? What's the other popular one called? Call of
Nature?
No, Call of Duty. Are you having problems with the old waterworks again?
Mind your own business. No, and I'm not into computer games in the slightest. I just asked the bloke for a decent laptop. I did mention that I didn't know much about computers.
What are you planning to use it for then?
Just email, the odd bit of online shopping, once I've figured out how to do this, and some writing.
Crikey, how much do you pay for this?
Almost $4,000.
I see. I think the person in the shop must have had their monthly sales target to make. Can't you take it back?
Well, I would now, given what you've just told me, except for the fact that the shop closed down last week. Gone online, apparently. At least that's what the sign in the window said when I went to ask how to connect it to the wireless thingy.
That's a bit of a bugger then. What were you planning to write? Any chance of it becoming a bestseller and paying off the small mortgage you had to take out to buy this?
I was thinking of resurrecting some old characters of mine, Richard and Tim. That stuff we used to do when we were younger.
That's a lovely idea. How's it going?
Not as well as I might have hoped. You see, I was hoping this new laptop would help me get over my writer's block. Sadly, if anything, it's made it worse. That bloody assistant, what's its name?
Cortana?
What do you want to do today?
Shut it! That's the one. All I want to do when I hear that stupid earnest voice is scream, "Sod off and help me write this play."
I sympathise. Those assistants can be singularly useless at times.
I did blurt out something particularly fruity the first time she asked me whether I needed help. Something very Anglo-Saxon, vernacular and all that. She then said something like, "Here's what I found on the web." When I clicked on the link, rather wish I hadn't. I didn't know there were people with those sort of fetishes.
Try not to think about it. So what's your problem vis-à-vis the play?
Well, it's being able to write realistic dialogue for a start, let alone a plot. Whenever I read back the stuff I've typed, it just sort of sounds like I'm talking to myself. There's no discernible difference in the characters. They're all just middle-aged men with different names.
I can imagine that would be a problem if you wanted to write a bestseller or a Hollywood blockbuster. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be much help. Another middle-aged white man and all that.
Why can't this computer help? I thought artificial intelligence was supposed to be the panacea for all our problems. Doesn't it have artificial intelligence built in? I've bloody well paid enough, so it jolly well ought to.
It's not quite that simple. Artificial intelligence is still very specific. You need to program it to solve a particular problem.
You were in IT, can't you help? Make this sodding white elephant earn its keep.
I'm not really up to date with the latest technological advances. I've been retired way too long. Still, I could try cobbling something together.
As long as it's reasonably realistic, I don't care. Just something I can build on.
What we need is some source of conversation.
Couldn't we just surreptitiously record people, on our mobile phones?
That's a nice idea, but it would take forever to gather a large enough sample to work with. Hang on. I think I have an idea. It's a bit unethical, though.
I won't tell if you won't, old boy. Go on, what did you have in mind?
Electronic eavesdropping.
You mean like GCHQ?
Yes, but with slightly... a lot less sophistication. I gather there are quite a lot of insecure devices out there on the internet. All we need to do is exploit some security defect in a device with a microphone and see what we capture. I believe there are lots of freely available hacker-type toolkits out there that probe systems for weaknesses. All I'd need to do is customize it to search for insecure microphones. Then we record what we hear, slice and dice the output, and Bob's your uncle, as they say.
Brilliant!
Pass me the laptop.
Here you go.
Quick Google. That will probably fit the bill. Download the zip file. Extract the batch file. Read the manual. No, bugger that. We don't have time. Change the parameters. Redirect the output to here. Log file to there. Pass the output to the built-in speech-to-text program. Add a quick and dirty slice and dice function to generate realistic dialogue. And off we go.
How long will this take?
I'd leave it overnight just to make sure we get a decent sample.
Shall we reconvene tomorrow? Come in. I think it's finished. I heard the laptop make a bing-bong noise.
Let's have a look, shall we? Here we go. Ooh, well, the output file isn't empty. That's promising. I'll just get the computer to play back what it's generated.
Look at you. You're gorgeous, aren't you?
Not now. He's asleep in the other room.
Sounds, reasonably promising, though I wasn't planning to include a sex scene. How am I going to fit this into a Richard and Tim?
Shh!
What a cute little nose you've got, haven't you? Lovely little rosy cheeks.
You've already had one bottle. Do you want some more?
Who's my precious then?
Have we tapped into a meeting of the Tolkien Appreciation Society?
Pass me the pump.
Oh, quickly. It's spurting out everywhere. Let's get that dirty top off you, shall we?
Gently, baby. My nipples are sore.
OK, maybe not the Tolkien Society after all.
Quiet!
Bath time for you.
Who's got a cute little bum?
That's a smelly one.
Wah.
OK, sounds like some bizarre elvish sex scene. The play is going to have a very niche appeal.
Hang on. Let me just check the log files. See what devices we hit. I see. That would explain it.
What? What would explain it?
Baby monitors.
Sorry?
The devices we hacked, they're all baby monitors.
So, we don't have anything of use, just a lot of crying, cooing and pooing.
It's looking that way. I think we're probably going to have to find a more reliable set of source materials. Maybe my slice and dice function was a little too ambitious as well. We need to walk before we can talk, so to speak.
I'm definitely a fan of walking, but what we need is fiction, and soon. My play needs convincing adult dialogue, not baby drivel.
Say that again slowly. It struck a chord, but the idea evaporated before I could articulate it.
I said I'm definitely a fan of walking, but what we need is fiction.
Fan fiction, that's it. We'll use fan fiction as input to my not quite so AI solution. That way we're also less likely to fall foul of any copyright issues.
It can't be any worse than your last attempt. Let's give it a try. Don't tell me this is going to be another overnight thing, isn't it?
Afraid so. I'll just write a quick program to do the necessary.
Your tea?
Thanks. Shall we have a listen then?
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? A TARDIS. It is.
I've got this terrible pain in all the diodes down my left side.
Jelly baby, hooray. I think I ought to let you know I'm feeling Princess Leia.
Help me, Frodo. You're my only hope.
Exterminate E.T. Beam me up, Gandalf.
The Doctor I am. Sonic Screwdriver I am not.
Exterminate Bilbo. Warp Factor 8. Hasta la vista, Frodo. I'll be C-3PO.
K9, phone, home. Make it so.
One ring to rule them all. Exterminate Scotty.
I'm your father's Dejim.
Phasers on stun. Shoot to kill. The foot alive. Element may the 5th be with you.
Gordon is 42.
It's a bit crap.
Sorry, it does sound as if it's been thoroughly yoded. I didn't know so much fan fiction was devoted to so few sci-fi titles. It must have overwhelmed the selection function.
Freddie, my friend's 4-year-old, could have written something better than that. Look, I thought you were an IT expert.
I guess our source material is still too narrow. I could try adjusting the parameters, pull in stuff from a larger dataset. It's going to take time though. I'll just make the requisite changes. I'm afraid your laptop's going to be a little sluggish, given the workload we're placing on it.
OK, so how long are we looking at this time?
I'd give it a week.
Ho-hum.
So, the moment of truth. I don't think it can get any worse than last week.
Purely as a matter of interest, what did you give your program access to this time?
Pretty much complete unfettered access to the whole internet. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as well as all the other things we've used previously. I'm hoping the added material will generate more balanced and realistic dialogue. Why do you ask?
It's just that a man in a hoodie dumped a parcel at my front door and disappeared sharpish. When I brought it in and opened it, I found a plastic bag containing some white powder and a handgun. Oh, and I seem to have a mysterious £500 payment on my Visa card, too. Of course, I took it all straight down to the police station and handed it in. Said there must have been some mistake.
Crikey, what did they do?
Well, After several hours of questioning, they let me go. Said I looked harmless, cheeky buggers, but that they'd be in touch if they needed to follow anything up.
Very strange. Let me check the logs. Oh, I see. That wouldn't be good. No, it definitely shouldn't have executed that piece of code. Started the VPN service too. Then, oops. See my mistake now. That should have been an and, not an or.
Well?
Looks like there was a buffer overflow in my program. Sort of took a wrong turning on the internet. If I'm interpreting these logs correctly, you might have accidentally ordered something off the dark web. At least that would explain the package.
Thanks a lot. I engaged your help to try to get my play written and almost land myself in jail.
Just be grateful you didn't look dodgy. Anyway, don't you want to hear what it's come up with?
I suppose so. In for a penny, as they say.
I'll just play the output file. Here we go.
Does my pussy look big in this?
It's bigger on the inside.
Stop! I've heard enough already. Don't bother to check the log files. I can tell what's gone wrong. Your program's binged on porn, diet advice and cat videos.
Oh dear, you're probably right. I think there might have been a bit of leakage from the old fan fiction part of the code too. Look, I'm really sorry, but my program just isn't fit for purpose. It's too simplistic. What we need is something closer to real AI rather than my random text rearrangement function.
And how long will it take you to write exactly?
Well, it won't. It's way beyond my programming capabilities.
You mean I've wasted all this time and money for absolutely nothing?
It's looking that way. Might be one option, though.
Go on.
Back in the day when I was still in gainful employment, I used to know this person, you bet. Graduated from Cambridge with a first-class degree in computer science. Bit of an AI whiz. Was part of our graduate recruitment process. Definitely a rising star in the field.
It's worth a try, I suppose. Can you do the honours and send the email? I still haven't got to grips with the new interface on the email whatchamacallit.
I'll get on it right away. Might be a few days before I get a response. I'll let you know.
Fair enough.
Toodle pip.
It's jolly kind of your friend to get back to us so promptly.
Yes, I got a Zoom invitation this afternoon, so it's been a bit of a rush, but I think we'll make it. I'll just click on the meeting link. Hi there, can you hear me?
Muggsy.
Good to see you again, Bethany. Hey, why have you put us on mute?
I thought you said your friend was called Hubert. I was expecting...
Can't explain, but I think you'll work it out. Sorry, Bethany. My friend here was just, asking if I could stay for dinner.
You bet.
Ah.
What's this secret project you want help with?
My friend here is trying to write a play and thought it might benefit from a little AI to help speed up the writing process. You know, do some of the heavy lifting.
You bet.
So I thought, who's the world's top AI expert? Someone who could help me write the program we need to achieve our goal.
You bet. So what you got so far?
Not much. My attempts to suck in large amounts of data from the internet have met with, what one might say, abject failure.
So you've been training your TensorFlow model on raw data drawn from the internet. What computational platform did you use to get the necessary data processing throughput? Amazon EC2? Microsoft Azure? Google Compute Cloud? What sort of parallelism did you go for?
Is she speaking English?
Sort of. Sorry, Bethany, my friend was just asking me if I wanted beans for dinner.
You bet.
Look, my AI programming skills are a bit rusty, shall we say. Is there any chance you could sort of give me a hand? Code reviews and all that?
You bet.
Brilliant. And of course, if you spot a better way to do things, code optimizations, shortcuts, please feel free to insert your ideas into my code.
You bet.
Thank you, you're so kind. So, what have you been doing with yourself? How's the career progressing? Guess you must be, distinguished engineer by now?
Actually, I've decided on a different career path. I'm an acting director now.
Wow, management. Never had you down as a people person.
Management? No. I said acting director. Someone who directs acting. Daddy set me up with this theatre company. I get a chance to do a bit of acting too.
I thought I recognised the face. That's not the daughter of that famous Hollywood actor, is it?
Who do you think I am, Barry Norman? How should I know? Great.
The Thane of Fife had a wife. Where is she now? What, will these hands ne'er be clean? No more o' that, my lord, no more o' that. You mar all with this starting.
I'm sure your Lady Macbeth will get a standing ovation.
Who knew Cawdor was so close to Mordor?
Shh! So why the change of direction?
I was bored. AI is so dull. I needed a challenge.
I'm sure a little problem will be just the challenge you need. So, Bethany, when do you think we might have something to beta test, as it were? Any chance of getting something by the end of the week?
You bet.
Your tea.
Thanks. I'll just grab a piece of Battenberg too. Shall we listen to what Bethany's program's generated?
This had better be worth it. 6 weeks of that laptop's fan whining has given me tinnitus, and it goes without saying that my electricity bill is going to be a shocker.
This is the Shirehampton Stuffed Wombat Society with their performance of The Great Tea Thief. Our story begins with Richard trying to divest himself of a Sherman tank.
But you already wrote.
Sod it. Pick a pane.
What? You mean the window?
Yes, which pane?
That one. Why?
Because this laptop is leaving. Good bloody riddance. I'll stick to my trusty old typewriter. Thank you very much. Stop Me If You've Heard This One Before was written by Tim Reed and starred Richard Hall as the announcer and Dick Zung. Tim Reed was Timothy Mugg and Beth McCann was the weather forecaster and You Bet. Sound effects were definitely not computer generated, and it was a stuffed wombat production.